All right, looks like we are live. Go ahead and get started. Welcome everybody to City Council meeting on April 21st. It is 6 p.m. Just to get us started, we have Ross that's going to do our Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great, thank you, Ross. Next on our agenda is the conflict of interest. If there is anybody on the council who has a conflict with any of the agenda items listed tonight, now would be the time to make that known.
So I'm not sure if, I don't feel that it's a direct conflict, but I do work for a fiber company. So I'll make that known as we talk about fiber in Uintah tonight.
Okay. Since he's declared a conflict, the rest of us can decide whether or not we want to participate in the discussion. I personally feel where we're not acting on anything or debating on a company. It's just whether or not we want to move forward with fiber. I feel like you can participate in the discussion and actually be an asset in that. Anybody else?
I agree.
Okay. Is that correct, Brian? We're good there? Okay. All right. Any other conflicts?
Dan Combino.
Okay. T-Gar said yes.
None.
None for myself. Okay. Thank you, guys. We'll move on to the public comment. If anybody is in the audience that would like to take 2 minutes and address the council, now is your time. If there is anybody online who would like to make a comment, now would be the time to drop it in the chat box, and we will circle back to public comments after the last person here makes their comment. And then just like being in person, please state your name and address. We know who's making the comment.
Address, that's it. Carolyn Pearson, 1658 65 25 South. I did this to the planning commission. We've been, fortunately they allowed me to go to the canal company meetings with UDOT, and it's a real fluid situation. So my encouragement to each of you is to get involved with that project, make your voice known, and stay involved even as it starts, because it's a design build and they need to change as they move forward. Found that when they were putting the light in, that critical decisions were made, and if you hadn't been there watching and advising and saying, well, what about this? Then there could have been a much different story for us. So all of you, get involved and stay involved. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carol. Any other public comments? Not seeing any. I don't see any comments online, so we'll go ahead and close the public comment session. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. Has everyone had a chance to review the meeting minutes, the invoices, and financial reports? Any comments on them?
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda that includes city council minutes for March 17th, approval of invoices for March, and financial reports for March.
The motion by Dan, second.
I'll second.
Second by Dave, thank you. Any discussion on that motion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. And since it's financial, we'll do a roll call.
Dan Cumby, yes.
Teague Sorensen, yes.
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 And I say yes as well, so that will pass. Thank you, guys. Next on the agenda is number 4. We don't have anything listed as old business for tonight. So we will keep on moving to number 5, which is the new business, or discussion, consideration, and possible action. The first one is fiber in Uintah City. I asked the council to come here tonight to just have an open discussion about the possibility of bringing fiber into the city. We've had 2 companies approach us saying that they have a great product and they would like to bring it into the city. And at this point, we're kind of to the time where we need to decide whether or not we're going to move forward with one of these companies or tell them we're not interested in bringing that into the city. So I guess I'll just open it up at this point to any thoughts that anybody on the council has for that.
I'll start by saying that I think that fiber internet would be a great addition to the city utilities. First of all, that it would provide competition for other internet providers in the city, which can provide better pricing and better options, multiple options for service. There's also several homes in our city that don't currently have infrastructure built up to their home through Xfinity, so they have to utilize other providers like satellite or wireless internet. And so bringing in a new construction could potentially reach those homes that were left out because of construction or bad planning on the contractor that built those homes, or if they're just older. I think that there are multiple options and for Uintah, and picking one that doesn't put any load or requirement on the city, whether that's the council or future council or the citizens of the city is the most important part of it, because there is a variety of agreements that cities have to enter, whether depending on what provider they choose.
One of the things I like about it as being a business owner is currently I have to have Comcast for my business and then a DSL line with CenturyLink, and as my backup internet in case Comcast goes down. And the copper wire for CenturyLink is so degraded that it's almost unusable. And so we've tried cell phone signal, and if CenturyLink or Comcast goes down between 4 and 5, then the tower is at its max capacity. Almost can't even run credit cards in an emergency situation. And I imagine that our businesses in the Uintah Spring Business Park and across the highway would benefit from having fiber as a backup or even as their main line. And then looking at the costs for my home and for my business would be half of what I'm paying for Comcast.
What is typically the cost, you know?
I mean, it varies. For example, Connext offers a gig symmetrical with no data caps and no contracts for $65 a month. When Keystone presented to us, they hadn't defined their pricing yet because they said that we were kind of a guinea pig. They're pursuing one other municipality at the same time, but they haven't done any municipalities yet. So they said somewhere in the range of $70. Google Fiber provides a gig for about $75. All West provides about the same, 70 to 75. And Utopia is a little bit more pricey. You have to pay one service to Utopia and one service to the local provider. And so it usually adds up to about $80 to $90 for a gig. But yeah, they have, all of those providers are working towards or already offering multi-gig plans too, but just kind of picking the middle of the road plan.
Any other thoughts or questions on it? So we've had two companies present to us. I guess this is a legal question that I would be curious about. Do we need to have, can we put that up for a bid, or can we just select a company that we feel would be best suited for Uintah, that has the least burden to citizens to bring into the city?
It would be best to put it out for a bid. It all depends on cost.
If it's going to cost the city anything, that determines what process you follow. But if there is no cost, I think it's still beneficial to do a request for proposals just to make sure that you are getting the best company qualified to serve the residents of Uintah.
Okay.
But I can look into that and decide which process we have to follow, if any, when we get to that point.
Okay.
I have a question. So, I remember asking this, I think, to the Keystone.
Yeah.
I mean, in my head, and again, this isn't what I do for a living, but why do we have to have a bid? Like, isn't it just like whoever the resident wants to use for their internet, right? Like, if fiber comes in, or whenever Comcast came in, or DirecTV, or whoever, right? Like, isn't it just up to the resident to pick whoever they want to pick? I guess I don't understand what we're bidding on, because it shouldn't cost the city anything, because it would just be who the consumers want to use. Am I wrong? I don't understand.
And that's, I mean, fiber infrastructure is built in a few different ways. Keystone pitched pursuing federal funding through BEAD grants. And so we would need to, they requested a letter of recommendation, so we would need to write that letter of recommendation stating.
Can we only recommend one?
For federal funding, yes. And we would only be eligible for federal funding if no other providers are coming to the area. And so it kind of creates a little bit of exclusivity, at least in the beginning. But most franchise agreements for internet are non-exclusive. And so, yeah, in that case, I mean, Utopia still, like, I've seen other agreements that Utopia has written with other cities, and they require the city council or the city to be on the hook for a certain amount of subscribership. And once that subscribership is reached, then the city's no longer on the hook. But, you know, for example, it was somewhere in the ballpark of $1.5 million for West Haven. So if the subscribers didn't provide $1.5 million worth of revenue, then the city was then on the hook to make up the difference. And so in that case, I do think that it would be, you know, important to be aware and before we entered into an agreement with Utopia specifically. But when Connext came and pitched that, like, they don't require any contract with the city, any expense on the city side. There's no, like, even, and we control the franchise agreement. So however we write the agreement, then we can say that, you know, we want them to renew it annually or every 5 years. And if we're unsatisfied with construction or anything that business is doing, then we can opt to not renew that franchise agreement, and they lose their franchise agreement. So, I mean,
I guess I just don't understand why we have to have any agreement at all. I mean, we don't have an agreement with the city, do we, with Xfinity?
we do.
We do? Just, okay. Apparently I need to learn about
Wait.
franchise agreements.
Which I was curious if we did too. And so Michelle was able to find our franchise agreement with Xfinity, and yeah, so I mean, I don't think that it's something that comes up, and obviously, like, where, you know, there is supposed to be a renewal. I don't know that our other franchise agreement might not have a renewal clause in it, but many do for internet providers today. I mean, Comcast was obviously in kind of uncharted territory when they were building out all their infrastructure and how big of a company they are.
So basically, what would happen is we'd say, yeah, we want fiber optic to come in. They'd come in, put the lines in, and then at that point, if we decided that they were sloppy, we didn't like the way they worked, then we could change it to Utopia, or we could change it to another fiber optic company. But it would still be that same fiber optic, whatever fiber optic company we changed it to would be the ones that would be in charge of all of Uintah. It couldn't be like multiple fiber optic companies coming in.
No, you can definitely have multiples. So there, many cities around us have multiple options for fiber optic. And so if there's room in public utility or power poles, then you can have as many as want to come into the city. So in a higher density city, there's more opportunity for competition. I know for sure that Washington Terrace has at least 2 options for fiber, maybe 3 options for fiber plus Xfinity. And so, yeah, it's non-exclusive. So if another company came along and said, hey, we want to come in too, we could give them our franchise agreement, they sign it, and then as long, then they build out, they incur all the cost of putting up their own infrastructure, and then whoever, our citizens can pick whoever they want for fiber internet. But there are some cases like applying for BEAD federal funding, or if we were to partner with Utopia, where they do require a commitment on the city's part.
I'm glad we have you here to talk us through that. So at this point, we've had the 2 Keystone and Connects that have come in and presented, and I feel like if we can, maybe if the council so decides, we can work on identifying any additional companies with low risk to the residents. I know when we've heard one of these presented, one presented less cost to the city, no cost to the city, I should say, and we didn't have to commit to a certain amount. And maybe we identify if there are other ones, and then we can decide from that point if there's a company that we feel the best about, and then also we can hear back from legal what the process might be. Does that sound good? And
just one more thing that I want, and so there is different forms of construction for fiber, like I kind of alluded to, aerial versus underground, whether it's on the power poles or drilled into the ground. When Keystone came, they did state that they wanted to do all of theirs underground, which requires PUE or right of way for any properties. And so especially along 6600, we do have some problems there where it could be a bigger headache. So not that they're asking directly for, concessions on the city council side, but we would have to be involved with planning commission on creating new PUE or right of way in order for the fiber construction, versus other companies might approach it aerially, and that already exists, and we don't have to work that out with citizens, homeowners. So that's just another thing to keep in mind, where it's not necessarily a commitment for expense, but it would be a commitment for time and effort to create those new public utility easements or right of ways.
Any other discussion on that, or somebody make a motion, some direction where we should go?
I think options are best for the residents, and this is, an option. And internet, everybody has internet, everybody uses internet, they can't get away from it. So I make a motion that we push forward with trying to bring fiber to the city.
I'll second that.
Motion in a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That approves. Thank you. Okay. We will start looking and see if we can find the companies that are the best, and after we hear back from legal, let's try to narrow them down and then bring them back to council when we have a decision. Next on the list is the annexation, accept the annexation for Weber County parcel number 071030021 for further consideration. Michelle, can I ask you to take this one to kind of explain what's been happening?
I can do that. So this is the final parcel, right, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Over in the business park. And been working on this for quite some time to get this done. So we are happy to have this on the agenda to be able to move forward. Is there anything that you want to say? Okay.
No, just thank you for your help on it.
You're welcome. So I would suggest that we accept this for further consideration. There is another process So this, it's also a planning commission, we have to have a public hearing. So there is more to this annexation process, but this is the beginning to accept it.
So first of a many, it sounds
Yes.
like, right? Okay, well, any discussion or somebody prepared to make a motion on that?
I'll make a motion
Okay.
that we accept the annexation for Weaver County parcel number 071030021 for further consideration.
Thanks for the motion.
I'll second.
In a second, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. That will pass. Thank you.
So the next step is what? Planning commission this Thursday?
It'll go to planning commission and then it will have to go to a public hearing.
Okay,
Yes,
which will be the following month when you get to.
Yes.
Okay.
That will be in May.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Appreciate it.
Good night.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is providing, back up, renumbering of ordinances 298-25, finalizing and adopting the budget for fiscal year 2025 to 2026, and providing for intra-departmental transfers, providing for a savings and severability clause, and providing an effective date. And 298A-25, enacting compensation increases for specific city officers. Just for clarification, these are not new. These are just being renumbered. They were numbered incorrectly. Is that correct?
They ended up with the same number, yes, that is correct.
And so we're just separating the numbers so they have their own number. And can we approve both of these at the same time, or do we need to handle them independently? Both at the same time? Okay. Any questions on that for clarification? No? Is that correct, Michelle? There it is. They were just given the same number, now we're giving them their own numbers.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we have a motion for that?
Sure. I'll make a motion that we approve to renumber ordinances 298-25, finalizing and adopting the budget for fiscal year 25-26, and then also the 298A-25, enacting compensation increases.
I think we have a motion. There's a second for that motion?
I'll second.
Second by Ross, thank you. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? It's unanimous, thank you. And the last one on our new business is the lawnmower purchase and the approval for a tractor purchase. Jack, maybe you speak to that?
Sure. We looked into, first of all, we sold multiple items on public surplus auction. So we were going to use some of the money from that to purchase a new lawnmower for the park. The current lawnmower is over 20 years old. It's still running and it's running well, but it's time to replace it before it doesn't. We looked at 3 separate lawnmowers or 2 separate lawnmowers, a Ferris and a Walker. They're both really nice lawnmowers. The Ferris is probably one of the nicest lawnmowers I've ever been on. As far as ride, comfortability, speed of cutting the lawn, and yeah, it was a really nice lawnmower. The Walker was a little bit slower. It wasn't as nice a ride, but like I said, they're both really good lawnmowers. I like the Ferris better myself. Both have bags for picking up leaves in the fall. Any questions on the lawnmowers?
So this is specifically for servicing the Uintah City Park and then the property around the Uintah City Hall, correct?
Correct. That's what it would be used for.
And if I'm reading these invoices correctly, there's about a $200 difference between the two.
Correct.
Well, it depends on which one you go with.
Go ahead.
Ferris is 1774, or 17,744. And then you have the 2, you have the Walker and the other Ferris on there, which is 22,294, and then the other Ferris one was 22,000. 096. So,
What's the difference between the two pairs?
The two Ferrises, one is a bigger size. I opted for the smaller size to mow here at the city offices. So it's a smaller deck and a little bit smaller motor. Is the only difference. It's the same lawnmower, it's just smaller.
so it's about an 8-inch
Yeah,
smaller.
That's the one you would.
correct. That's the one that I would
Are they
prefer.
Are they diesel? Are they both diesel or?
They're all gas. All
They're all
those prices are gas, yes. Diesel lawnmowers, we did check into some diesel lawnmowers. They're quite a bit more money than a regular gas lawnmower. And where we're not using a lawnmower like other cities do every day for 8 hours a day, mowing multiple parks, I think a gas mower will be just fine. We can mow the park once, twice a week.
Not having to worry about after treatment.
Correct, and not having the DEF and all those types of things, so.
And then, since it's the same agenda item, we have to talk about we're gonna discuss looking for a used tractor with the rest of the funds that we've acquired with the selling of surplus items. For basically mowing the side of the road and farm tractor work, basically.
Correct.
PTO work.
Correct.
Just for like to keep things separate, let's do them separate. I feel better about doing them separate. So let's do the lawnmower first, and then we'll talk about the tractor, since we have a concrete amount for what the lawnmower is.
Okay.
I make a motion.
Jim,
See, this is why old school paper comes in handy.
I make a motion that we approve the purchase of the Ferris lawnmower from Wilkinson Supply for $17,744.18.
okay, the motion,
I'll second it.
and a second. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Do a roll call, since that has to do with money. I'm gonna do just a little bit differently. I'm gonna call your names out so it's easier for recordings to know who's saying yea and nay. So we'll start over here with Councilmember Comby,
Yes.
Councilmember Swanson,
Yes.
Councilmember Roberts,
Yes.
Councilmember Patterson,
Yes.
Mayor says yes. So that will pass. Thank you, guys. All right, now let's move on for the approval of the tractor purchase.
One of the items that we sold was the old farm tractor that the city has had. It was tired. It served its purpose for the city and it served it well, but it's time to move on. So I'm asking to use the rest of the funds that we raised from the auctions to purchase a newer used farm tractor so we can keep up with the roadside mowing and whatever else comes along that we can use a smaller tractor for.
Let me just say that I have been very impressed with you, Jack, and your team. The fact that you're going through, that you've given us a list since you've been here of what needs to be done. And so we're not getting into a place where, we're selling stuff and we can still get money for them, and then we're replacing it with things that we need. And I just think that's very conservative and fiscally responsible. I super appreciate it, as I know the citizens do and the rest of the council does as well. Because it's not like we have to, be in an emergency situation where now we have to spend all this money on a tractor, right? So I think that it's really smart and I appreciate it. I just want you to know that.
What's the best way for this to handle the situation? Do we know a dollar amount to give?
I think the issue is, right, we want to buy used, and so if we're gonna buy used, we're gonna go online, and then we can't, like, our normal process is to get 3 bids and all of these things, but when you're buying used and you're going against other people and it's a time situation, so I think we have to come up with an amount that's okay, so that he can look and through the used classifieds, is what I would call
He doesn't
them.
have a dollar amount, correct? Yeah.
And part of that is
They have a dollar
that
amount.
it's spending that it's budget that has to be spent because we've taken it in on surplus selling, right? And there's a deadline on when it needs to be spent.
That's been done this fiscal year. So with purchasing the Ferris, we have $18,490 left of the surplus money.
Can you tell me that again? Sorry.
$18,490 of the surplus money that needs to be spent this fiscal year that we could put towards a used lawnmower or used farm tractor. So I make a motion that we use the remaining $18,490 of selling the surplus equipment to pursue a used farm tractor for highway maintenance.
I'll second that. Motion in a second. Thank you. Okay. Any further discussion on that motion?
What price are you thinking do we need to go up from there? Is that a good price that we can give them for? What's your thoughts, Jack?
I think we could get, been looking around a little bit, I wanted to wait for approval, but I think we could get one somewhere around 20,000. We do have $2,000 in for a tractor rental this year, and if we go over the 18,000, that could be a little bit of a buffer zone in my mind.
Because all would have to rent the tractor.
Sure. Or not.
So you think you'd find one then?
I believe so.
I think it's also worth noting like that, drought and keeping the weeds and stuff contained on the side of the road is helpful for fire prevention or fire mitigation, hopefully. That the tractor also, my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's utilized to load salt or dirt during the winter for the plow truck.
We could, it would be very nice to have a backup. We have a 580, but it would be nice to have a backup in an emergency situation where, you gotta have it.
How many CCs are you looking at? How big of a tractor?
I was thinking like a 40 horse would pull the mower wheel currently on. 40 horse should pull that pretty easy.
Okay. But we wouldn't be looking for one with a bucket on the front of it though.
Most of them come with a bucket on the front that we're looking at.
Okay.
If there is one that doesn't have a bucket, I'm not opposed to doing that. The old one didn't have a bucket, but it would be nice to have a backup to the tractor, to the 580. Most of the ones I have been looking at have a front bucket on them.
Okay.
The old tractor had a front bucket, but it was broached. Yeah, it was trashed.
Any other discussion on it? All right, we have a motion on the table and a second. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And let's do a roll call as well for this one since it deals with money. Councilmember Kobe,
Yes.
Councilmember Swanson,
Yes.
Councilmember Roberts,
Yes.
Councilmember Patterson,
Yes.
and Mayor's aye. So that will pass. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then that takes us to the end of our new business. So we will jump down to item number 6, the informational items. First on the agenda, we have a planning commission report. We don't have anybody here to represent that. Is there anything that you know of that you can update on?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, the planning commission, last time we had it was pretty much nothing.
On the agenda.
Really talk too much about.
All right. Then we will go down to public works. Jack. Shouldn't have sat down.
I can stay. So this is kind of a quarterly report. Last time I was in here, the last quarter. The water department, we installed approximately 31 meters last year, 6 of those being new builds. I've installed 10 so far this year. The report, those are new builds. So there's some new construction going on. The meter reading is going really smooth. I haven't had any major issues with the software or anything like that, so it's working really good. Really happy with meter works and the way their meters work. So I installed 3 new air vents on some different locations around town in the water lines. Some of the air vacs are in vaults or manholes. and they have to be plumbed outside. It's kind of something that just got overlooked, I think, so it's good to have that done. I did it at the Comey tank, I did one at the corner up here on 6550, and then one above the nursery over here. I also put some traffic protection around them. Just, they're big steel boxes. It's kind of like a bollard that gets hit first and hopefully doesn't damage the pipe. There's 2 more vents in town that I'd like to get traffic protection on. They're just out in the open right now. I think any protection on our vents is good to have. I did a service on the PRV station out here in front of the office. Both of those valves have not been serviced in 10 years plus. They need to be serviced. They recommend every 5 years to have them serviced. And servicing usually entails new rubber parts, have a big diaphragm that needs to be replaced. The water is turbulent, and if there's any sand particles in it, it just tears them up and creates issues down the road. So the PRV maintenance is something that's ongoing and will continue to be ongoing. I have 2 more to do. There's one on 6600 that needs to be done. That was going to be a little tricky. I'm going to have to have traffic control, and so I'll have to plan a little bit better for that one, but that one will be coming up to get that one done. In the streets department, we installed 3 new speed limit signs. One up here in front of the office is a digital radar sign. And I did 2 on the west end, one right by the bridge, and then one across the street from Cottonwood Trailer Park. Those 2 have flashing orange lights on them just to kind of draw some attention to them. The feedback I'm getting from residents, the few that I've talked to, seem to like it and appreciate it. So I think that was a good way to put those in.
I'll have to agree. I'll admit when I'm wrong, and I kind of put my heels in the sand on that one. But as a resident, as I've been driving around, I do think that they're helpful, and I think the places that you chose to put them are good. Like by the bridge, I've noticed, on that corner. So good job.
Kind of a little bit of a snowplow report. We plowed 3 times. And sanded just 2, so trucks were out 5 times total. The biggest storm was 4 inches. We had a total of 11 inches of snow in Uintah this year.
11 inches?
How much?
Not even a foot.
That's it. That's what I wrote down. So, we used approximately 6 tons of salt on the roads. We ordered 19 tons of salt was delivered, and 15 tons of sand was delivered. Our salt and sand shed is full as it can be, so we have stockpile for next year. The new truck, with the plow and the sander on it, didn't give us any issues. The sander we put in Tim's truck didn't have any issues with it. It was a little bit of a learning curve going from the big dump truck, the 6-ton dump truck, to a pickup. A lot smaller, have to go over it a little bit more, but all in all, I think it was a good move going that route. I don't want to really get rid of the big plow truck yet to see, I don't feel like that was a good winner to judge if we need it or so that's my opinion on that. Park and city office, spring is here. We've already been mowing, fertilized the park already this spring. 18 bags of fertilizer for the park and city, so about 20 bags to do both of these. I've talked with Dan a little bit. I'd like to look about doing some more xeriscaping around here and the park. I'm open to ideas. I'm not really set in stone on anything, but I would like to get our outdoor water use down and try to conserve some water. And I think that would be good for the citizens to see the city trying to conserve water. I think that's a good thing if we can conserve. We already talked about the mowers. The fleet, we talked about the auctions a little bit. I also sold 2 chainsaws that we don't use, and got $114 out of that. The farm tractor that we talked about, we sold it for $6,250. And the old brush truck, the old Uintah City fire truck, it sold for $15,777. So I feel like we're doing pretty good on this auction site and moving in a good direction for there. All the other trucks, past emissions, they've all been serviced. I kind of started a new monthly check of our trucks, our pumps, all of our small equipment, tractors, everything. Check the oil, check the antifreeze, the belts, make sure everything's greased. So I just started that 3 months ago. So trying to stay on top of that and keep everything going. Just some upcoming projects that we got going. We're working on weeds and mowing. Memorial Day at the cemetery is a big one, so we'll have that looking nice. And I'll go up and help Tim for a couple of days and get it all whipped into shape. And U-Days is coming up, so we'll be around. I'm available if anything comes up. Any questions?
Any questions? I just thank you for all you're doing. I echo what Michelle said earlier. I feel like you are a great asset to the city, and the attention you're giving to all of the equipment and making sure we get it on a rotating basis, and especially in the water department. I don't know if council is aware, but we do a sanitary survey every 3 years. It's a state survey. And they come in and they look at everything. They look at all of the vents that he's talking about, and do they come out in a good spot where they're supposed to. We check all these criterias, and that there's been years past we kind of hold our breath a little bit. And as I hear you talk more and more, and the longer you're here, the more confident and at ease I think we're getting with some of these things that we have to, do at the state level. So thank you for your attention to that and to making sure that, the water's clean and turns on when citizens need it to. It's a big job.
You're welcome, and thank all of you I'm happy to be here and glad to work here.
And also with the water conservation, I think that's great, because we are asking our citizens to use 20% less water in their own homes and own yards. So I feel like that's a good show from the city that we're also trying to do the same and to be conservative with our water. And I've also had a few reports from citizens that they appreciate the signs and that they have seen a difference. They are changing behaviors, and they're glad they're there. So. Any other comments?
Yeah, I feel like it might seem corny to people that don't get to work with you, how often, I've witnessed the city council for almost a year now, seeing your praises and now being a part of it. I really do feel like we get the best value that we can out of the cost of your labor. It is quite the blessing to have you as an employee for the city. And I think that a lot of cities have great public works employees, but we have the best. I appreciate you're always ahead. You're prepared. Your proactivity is phenomenal, and I think it pushes the rest of us to keep up with you, because as soon as something's requested or asked of you, it's done immediately. So thanks, Jack.
Okay, thank you guys.
We made you uncomfortable enough?
Yep.
Good job.
See you next quarter.
Sure about the slogan, but whatever that. All right. 7.
Well, good evening. Just an update for the month of March. So today, the commission amended the operating capital budget. So those that have been in the discussions, the mayor was emailed a document, so
Yes.
for the allocation today, so you should receive that. Out of those talks, the commission essentially moved 4 deputies. We were asking for 10 to bring up the per deputy per 1,000 resident. Currently, we're sitting at 0.54. To get up to the 0.72 number, we asked for 10 deputies. basically the commission took 4 from the general fund. So the contract cities will receive the 10 with a net gain of 6, if that makes sense. So we will move some things around, so we'll get 6 new ones, but you guys will see the additional costs for the 10, and then that takes us to 0.7 or 68 or something, can't remember. Anyway, Michelle has that document, so you can review it.
I'll send it to everybody as well.
Or sorry, the mayor has it.
And she has it as well.
Oh, does she?
Michelle has it as well, yeah.
Okay, so anyway, staffing is great. Right now, we've had 2 sworn lateral positions come across, so people from other agencies. One was Murray, another West Valley, or one from West Valley. It's nice to get people that are not running from other problems, but they're actually looking to work here instead of commuting. So they live in the area, so it's good for us where we're actually able to recruit. So we had 2 laterals. We unfortunately dismissed 1 deputy from the field training process. He was a new hire. And then 6 are current in field training, with 2 finishing the academy in a week and a half, 2 weeks. So should bring our numbers up. These new 6, we're trying to bring the laterals in so we get some additional experience. So overall, the calls for service this month in the city, I guess as a reminder and maybe something for the newsletter, is just with the warmer time, the trends start to be people are out checking door handles, so make sure stuff's locked up. But there's, in the month of March, we didn't get a cold winter, but typically what you see the trend is when it starts to warm up, people start getting out, walking around, trying to see what they can get their safety fingers on. So looks like in the month of March, there was a couple vehicle burglaries, a purse was stolen, and some other miscellaneous items. So
That's in Uintah City?
That's in the city. So, yeah, overall, there's really not anything that stands out. The traffic unit has been down here. I talked to a couple of them, I've asked them to watch 6550 due to the nursery traffic, hopefully tame that a little bit. And so overall, they said that, I mean, they're sitting in a marked vehicle, but really there's feedback that the traffic unit gave is that the speed sign seems to be working. It's helping. So they did get a couple stop sign tickets. So other than that, that's it. You guys have any questions?
Any questions? No, we appreciate, I guess I should speak for everybody. I'm going to. We appreciate what you do and all that the sheriff's department does for us. I feel like we should try to embarrass you as well. Turn Jack red.
I'm good. Jack,
work on you as well, but we do appreciate the sheriff's department, and I still feel very strongly that the citizens get more bang for their buck being part of the sheriff's department than trying to go it alone. All of the resources that you guys bring to the table is worth every penny that we spend towards it. We don't want to have anybody need you guys, but when you do, we appreciate it, and we appreciate knowing that we can fall back on that certainty that you guys will be here when we do need you. We appreciate that.
We appreciate the partnership, so thanks for the support.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, stay safe.
All right, that takes care of those reports, and the last thing is the council reports. Anybody have anything they want to update? We'll just start down here on the end.
I don't have any.
Okay.
Got to attend a Bonneville CTC event last night. It was fun. Glad that Uintah City gets to be a part of that and be represented in that. So, other than that, I don't have anything else. Need to go.
Thanks, Michelle.
UD planning is underway. we have a great team, but it looks like this will be our last year of us working together. And so we are looking for some volunteers that want to shadow this year to keep the traditions alive, for the dinner or also for chairing the events in the future. And so we asked for that, and we sent a message out in the newsletter to see if there's anybody that wants to be involved a little bit more heavily. But same kind of things. We'll have all the good stuff, parade and salmon dinner and chicken chase. And I was a bit disappointed. The fire department said that we cannot have the spray down with the children, but they'll figure something else out. So, anyways, we have a good team together and we're working towards it. And I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be good. Just again, if there's anyone you know or any volunteers, let's put the word out so we can keep the traditions alive.
We have a guarantee of one more good year, but we need more volunteers to ensure that we'll have additional good years.
Correct.
I don't have anything.
Okay. I think everyone's been aware, we've sent it out with the newsletters and through our text MyGov. There's the wellness survey going on right now. It's not something that we made up. We're just taking part in it. It's a USU survey that they're doing, and they're partnering with many cities across the state of Utah, and we are just one of them. We are curious to know if our residents like living here, if we're doing well, if they like having access to the resources around them, if they feel like there's places that the city could help out and do better. And that's kind of sort of the information that we'll get back from that. And then we can take a look at that and see if there's maybe something that we could, adjust course or maybe focus on a little bit more. So if you guys haven't yet done the survey, please do. Please encourage your neighbors, friends, anybody to take the survey. The more people we have, the better our information will be when we get it. So just keep an eye on that, please. And then Michelle is representing us at the ULCT conference later this week. She's going to run down there to get updates on all the legislation that's been passed this last year and best practices. So we're looking forward to having her come back and share with us what she learned. All right, anything else? Any forgotches? Nothing? Okay, motion to adjourn if somebody wants to make that.
Motion to adjourn.
The motion and a second from Michelle, thank you. Any discussion on that motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. That passes. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
I didn't ever see anybody join.
Thank you.
You guys have a good day.